Hello, ladies.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, hello. Who's that? Kerry.
Hi.
Hey,
I made it.
you did. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Everyone got rain, hopefully.
We had a little bit overnight. Not very much.
Oh,
not very much at all.
So it's swinging its way, Kerry.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's started raining again.
The garden needs it.
It does, actually. It means I don't have to get the hose pipe out, which is good.
Yeah.
My poor little pansies or whatever I was out there was like drooping every day. And if I forgot to water them, actually got a nice poppy that's come out as well. They've all popped out. Just lovely. So hopefully everyone knows what they're doing. I didn't put on the list a little wax resist. We will need a wax resist or a white wax crayon or something like that. The top of its head, those little white marks. If you've got a wax resist, it will be easier with that. Otherwise, you're going to have to paint little dots on there. But your wax resist should hopefully do that or a white. That's the other thing I want to check in my box. Keep working around different boxes and losing little bits and pieces. Well, I need to sharpen that. That was all my little paint disappearing. I'll put them up in a minute. What's coming in? Need one of these. Which is me. I'll just luckily we only need a few colours. I'll go and find them off the don't balance your paints on the corner of the table. So I was working here. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Debbie, I'm using watercolour. It's Sarah. Using watercolour paper tonight. Now, I have got written on the front of it that it's really just for detailed drawings, but I thought I'd give it a go.
Okay. Does it mean it's smooth or something?
I think it is smooth. Is that all right or not really?
Yes, it's fine. I work my pictures with watercolour paper. It just works a little bit differently. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I've lost all my paints on the floor, look, so in between.
Oh, yeah, mine keep falling out.
Pick them all up before do any painting because they're all down there.
Oh dear.
I'm going to find another.
We'll pick up the blues and the oranges and leave
I'll
the rest.
just use this paint box actually. This one will do. There must be something in there I can use. Yeah, got orange in it.
So you must have so many paints that
I have. I've got this one, but this is not what I painted it with. I painted it with this box. But hey, it'll work. Just it's the same. Improvise. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 colours anyway, maybe 5.
colours.
Yes, I never use many colours. It's good not to use too many colours. Otherwise you end up with mud. 3 or 4 is usually good unless you're painting something that is needed. No, needs lots of colours, but yeah, it's just orange, maybe a bit yellow. Not many in there. I might dab my brush in something else that I'm randomly see. Okay. Yes, I use watercolour papers today, everybody. You will need a wax resist, that's why I dropped all my paints on it. If you don't have a white, let me just mute everybody. A white wax crayon out of a box. I think Amadine's probably stolen her daughter's white wax crayon will work exactly the same. So one of those, you will need those to do the top of his head. Because otherwise you're going to have to paint little squares on it. Okay, I've well and truly lost my paints. I can spot an orange and a yellow over there. I'll go fetch them in a little bit. Fill up my paint box. That'll be my little exercise in between. Right, I'm going to make a start. I'll find my pencil. One of those days today. Right, let me just spotlight me. Okay, cool. So we are working in portrait mode. So your paper needs to be like that. And on the usual grid of, I'm going to go through it though. I'm just going to move down to my other camera. And come down.
Debbie, sorry, I'm totally unprepared. Are we doing watercolours and shall I use watercolour paper? I know you've already answered this.
I'm using watercolour paper. You can use mixed media paper if you wish to. But I am using, for this, I've used watercolour paper.
Okay, good.
It'll work pretty much the same. You won't get such sort of blobby, all this kind of in the background going on as much. It will be less blotting paper look. This is what you get with watercolours. With mixed media, you won't get it as much, but it works pretty much the same. This one got stuck. Okay. Lindsay just sent something through. Lindsay, you'll have to read it if you're here. I haven't got a chance to read that. Yeah, so we're on portrait, watercolour or mixed media. It's your choice with that. I said my picture is done with watercolour paper. You just get a slightly different effect with the watercolour paper. So the usual grid system we're going to work off. I'll just go through it because there's some people on here who haven't been on here before, because we've got some of the stronger together group here today. So for centre, you're going to go out to the right. So you've drawn your cross on there. You're going to go out to the right, 10 dots 1 centimetre apart. Back to centre, out to the left, 10 dots 1 centimetre apart. Back to centre, up, 10 dots 1 centimetre apart. Back to centre, and down 1 centimetre apart, and back to centre. I seem to have lost my pencil as well. I don't know what's going on. I've moved everything. Right. So what we're going to do is the part of the body that we're going to work on. We're going to start with his body, like we did the blue tip, and then we're going to put his head on the oh, we lost Shelley. And work from there. Shelley, you all right? We don't normally lose you. So, Shelley, you right, mate?
I had no camera and no audio. I had to go out and back in again.
Okay, you're right. I think the Wi-Fi is probably, this weather is probably going to affect a few people with the storms. I was wondering if I was going to hang on there. So what we're going to do is put the body on first, Shelley. That's all I went through, and just said we're going to pop his body on first. We're going to do this rectangle, and then like the blue tip, we're going to put his body inside that rectangle. So from the centre, I want you to go up and mark the 4 centimetre marker, and then come back down to the centre and go out to the left and mark the 4 centimetre marker. Back to centre, and you're going to come down and mark the 10 centimetre marker. Back to centre and out to the right and mark the 5. And then make a square with those markers. Ignore these ones at the moment. We'll put those on in a second, and make your rectangle with those markers that I've given you. Just gently, because you're going to be rubbing that rectangle out once we add the next bits on. I have had 2 coffees today, but it was early, so I'm hoping I don't gallop. But we have young Sarah on here to keep me in track, not to go too fast. So you should don't have a little rectangle like that. Once we've got that on, we're now going to put little markers on the rectangle that I want you to use to draw his body. Lindsay, I didn't read that thing that flicked through about, I'm assuming this is a he. Please don't tell me they look the same. Is Lindsay on here? Let's have a look. Lindsay's done a little research. No, she's just sent it through though. I'll have to have a read while I'm pausing. Right, let's put some dots on. So from on the top line, so from the centre here, we're going to go on that very top line, and we're going to put some markers on. And you're going to go out from that top line, from the 4 centimetre marker. You go out to the left and highlight the 3.7. Should just be inside the box by about what? A little bit. 3 mil in basically. And then back to the measurement line, and you're going to go out to the right 3.1. Just draw yourself a dot up there. And then for back to center, and you're going to come all the way down and just highlight the 6 centimetre marker there. Now you will be using the 4 centimetre marker here, and you will be using the 5 as well. And we're going to put his body on. Has everybody got those markers on? We all good? I'm not going too fast. No. Oh, hello, Wendy. You're here. Hey. Right, let me go. So let's put his body on. So those markers I gave you, this is the 3.7 and that was the 3.1. This was the 4 and this is the 6. Goes all the way down to the corner of the box, comes out of the box to the 5 and back up to that other one there, and that is his body. So basically you are putting this part on of his body. So hopefully you've got a picture that you're using as reference. This will determine how much food your kingfisher has caught and how much food he hasn't, basically. I'll let you decide that one.
Debbie.
Yes. Is that
Debbie?
Lolly?
Yes.
Hi, Lolly.
Sorry, but that marker to the right hand side from the
Where are we? Up top?
centre, middle, go middle.
This one?
Yeah.
This
How
one?
many? No, right. That, how many is that out?
5. This is where you did your box.
Ah, okay, got it now. Okay, yeah. So the 6 is down the bottom. So we went down 6 then, did we, or something? I don't know.
You came down 10. Your box is to the 10 centimetre marker. You just need to highlight the 6. You already had the 5 because that's where
Yeah.
you put the edge of the box on.
Oh, so you said go through the 6, did you?
Yeah, here, look, this one here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry,
That's all right.
misheard.
No. Sometimes I gallop because I have had coffee. I am fully aware that I get carried away and just want to get his body on. So just have a look at the screen there and you determine the size of your kingfisher's little body there. You can adjust this anyway. You've got, so we're not going to like fully uniball. I'm going to put a little bit of a fluffy, like we did the blue tips. We're going to fluff him up with a bit. Christine, are you all right? Or do I need to send you some sheets? Did we lose someone again?
Yes, it chucked me out again twice.
Yeah. Would you
I've
like
only
me to
just got back in, so I have no markings. I have the box, that's all.
Okay, mate, let me just send these to you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Just bear with me, everybody. It's going to be like that tonight, I think, with storms. I think it's
Actually, I think I can work it out from the
let's have a look.
from what you've done.
Let me just do one. Well, everybody's making their why won't it find you? Who's that that's coming in? So Christina, the box, have you got the box on there?
Yeah,
It's up 4 and then
Yeah.
come down 10
yeah, got that.
and then it's out to the left 4 and
Yeah.
out to the right 5, and that is your box that you're working off.
Okay, yeah, got that.
Have you got that on there?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
did have that on.
Then we're going to put, you're just going to put 3 markers on for his body from that top line out to the left 3.7, and then
Yeah.
out to the right 3.1, and then you're going to highlight 6 down here, the bottom here.
Yeah.
And they're the markers that you're going to
Okay.
work from, that you come down for his body.
Lovely, thank you.
All right. It's a bit of a funny old shape. I've just drawn mine here. You can adjust his belly as you go along, and his little wings. And you don't have to put him on a little stick. You can put him on anything, really. He or she. I haven't researched Kingfisher, so that's my one there. I've been working on this behind the scenes. Has everybody got, are happy with the size of their little tummy on their Kingfisher? Yours is skinny or is it eating lots of fish? That will determine how big your little belly is on your Kingfisher. Right, I'm going to pop his head on. If anyone has missed any measurements, please let me know. Everyone seems to be coming in and out with Wi-Fi but doing funny things, so I'm more than happy to just go over them. And actually, it's quite, the Kingfisher really is quite a simplistic shape. It really comes into its own when we start to paint it. really, a bit like the blue tip. They're all pretty much bird shape, funny enough. I don't really know how else to put that. Right, the orange bit we've done for his belly. So you're going to put his head on, and we're going to go off that and leave that top line. You can, if you want to neaten up your picture, you can get rid of the box. We don't need the box anymore, so you can actually rub out that box that we used for his tummy. But don't rub out that top line, as you can see there. You still need that. So you're going to work off that 4 centimetre line up the top there. So we're going to go up. Have I not put that on there? How much we're going to go up? Obviously, it might be enough, so that means I'm going to measure it. I thought it's ahead. So we're going to go up. Oh, it's 8.5. That's why. We go up to the 8.5 marker. And that's the top of your box. And you're going to come out to the. What did we do?
Debbie,
Yes.
me again.
Hi, me again.
Had an interruption with
That's all
husband. So could
Where are
just-
you?
No, I'm fine. It's just the start of this new box. You said up from the
Up
centre.
8.5.
8.5 from where?
Just from the bottom here, all the way up.
Thank
8.5.
you. Yeah, thank you.
That's all right.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Absolutely fine. And then I want you to go up and just, well, you can just draw yourself a line across at the moment. We'll make a box, basically. You've got the bottom of the box with your 4 centimetre line down here. So just make yourself a box. That's a bit squiffy, but I'll adjust his head. It's just to give you an area to work in, to get his head kind of the right perspective, really. And then along this edge here, with the right hand, someone keeps coming on a fire tablet. I don't know who that is. But I keep getting kicked out. I don't know who that is. I've just got a fire tablet written on my screen there. If you need any help, just let me know, because I'm a bit confused as into where you're at. Just let me know if you need any help. Right, so this, sorry?
I have to say it's me.
Who's me? Right, so
It's
this
me.
marker. Hang on a minute, everybody. I'm just gonna mute everybody because I'm getting feedback. Have I still got everybody?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Is that you, Jude, on that tablet?
I think it's Liz from
It's
her
Jean.
holiday trying to find her internet in a van.
Liz.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to mute you because we're getting lots of feedback. Just let me know if you need me to send anything. You'll have to just text me through on my phone. Just let me know, Nicola, if she has, because I've got it on silent at the moment. Right, let's get this box done. So what we're going to do is from the 6 centimetre marker, we're going to go up 6 centimetres. So here, I'm going to go out. Why have I got 3.3? Oh, my brain is now completely confused. So for the 6 centimetre marker, yeah, there we go. I want you to draw a line. Oh, my ruler is too big. 6 centimetre marker. Sorry, ladies, we'll get there in a minute. I want you to go out and draw yourself a line on the edge of the box. Should be about 3. What I want you to do, actually, that's it. I want you to do up 6 centimetre marker and come out 3.3. So 6 centimetre marker there and come out 3.3 and draw yourself a dot. There you go, back in the flow. And then you go up to the 7 centimetre marker and you go out to the left 3.1. Draw yourself a marker. You should have like 2 little dots kind of. Mine's here, look, floating around like that, randomly like that. And then I want you to go up to the top of the line where you drew the 8.5 centimetre line and come out to the right 1 centimetre and draw yourself a marker. And then come down to the 7 centimetre marker there and go out to the right 2.8 and draw yourself a dot. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots randomly placed in that box. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to join those boxes, those dots up. So obviously you want to come from your body, you want a nice little curve on his head. So if you can make sure yours curves round nicely, and that will determine the size of his head, the shape of his head. And that's the first marker I gave you there. And this is the second marker. So those two markers that are close together. This goes up to about the 9 centimetre marker here. So it goes outside your box. This was the 1 centimetre mark I gave you there on the right. And that was the other one there, just inside the box there. And as you can see, ignore these other little markers at the moment. Come round and join the front of that other one. So just look at the screen there and get something that looks similar. This will determine the shape of your head of your kingfisher. I said you can adjust it once we've got a few more things going on it if you need to. Just get a nice sort of curve going on. So we've got to put his beak on in a minute. It looks kind of a bit of a strange Russian doll to me, from mine on at the moment. It's like an odd Russian doll. It's got like a nice flying tail. That's mine there at the moment. So I tried to keep this kind of nice and smooth. It goes outside that box there, comes around and down and then joins the other side there. We will be just rubbing that out and going over it with Uniball very fluffily in a little bit. You can rub the box out. You don't need that anymore. You can get rid of that. You can get rid of that line at the top of the box if that gets in your way. I find too many lines on my paper just confuse me, and it doesn't take much, as you can see tonight, to confuse me. Oh dear. Right, good, good. How's everyone? Everyone got their little kingfisher head on? I'll wait for everyone. I will pause, otherwise Sarah will be watching me. Am I doing all right, Sarah? Not going too fast? I've still got to find my paints on the floor, yeah? That'll be the next thing. Using my other box.
Debbie,
Yes?
can you just move it up, Ted? Because I only just got on, so I can just see Ray's bottom tail coming and I'll wing it.
Oh, that's
that-
brilliant. Did you want me to photograph? Send me a message and I can photograph stuff while everyone's doing other stuff if you want me to. Just let me know. I can see her, Nicola. I can't hear her though. Right, I'm just going to mute everybody again, otherwise I won't see everybody. Okay, let's get some dots going on to put. We're going to put his beak on now. So what I want you to do is go up. Oh, from the corner of that body that you had on there. Maybe you shouldn't rub that out. We hope you still got that dot there that we originally drew very faintly. You need to go up 1.6 from the little corner of his body here, up 1.6, and just draw yourself a marker there. And then highlight the 5 centimetre marker. You'll be working with that. And at the 6 centimetre, I want you to come out 2 centimetres and draw yourself a dot.
Which way out?
To the left, Shelley, sorry.
Thank you.
This one here. So 6 go out. So you should have 5, 2, and 1.6 up the corner there. And then we're going to do a random dot out here in the middle here on the right hand side. So I want you to go out to the right 6.6. Right, 6.6, yep. And you're going to go up 3.6. So out 6.6 and up 3.6. Draw yourself a marker. Now that is the end of the beak. That's where the beak will start. And this is how we're going to do it all. We need to just add 2 more little measurements on there. 6. We'll put 2 more measurements on there so we know where to take the back of the beak.
Debbie, I got chucked out again. Sorry.
That's all right. Who's
The
that?
two, just the two, look, Christina. The
Okay,
2 marks on the left, please.
these 2 or these ones? Well, hang on. Where's my piece of paper? Have you got the beak markers on? You've got his head.
1.6, yes.
So if you got this one on,
Yeah.
then you got the up 6, out 2,
Oh, I did it the other way, I think. Oh, 6.
out 2 to the left. Highlight the 5.
Yeah.
And then you got one right out here. So it's along to the right 6.6 and up 3.6. And just draw yourself a little marker on there. And we're going to join these up. This is the 5 centimetre marker here. I'm going to put 2 little markers on the back here. So you're going to go up 4 and out to the left 3.7 and draw yourself a marker. Just highlight that. And then you go up 5.3 and out to the left 3.3 and draw yourself a marker. And that's where you're going to start his beak, because you've got one here that goes round and there's a tiny little gap here. So one comes above the 5 and one goes below. Just leave like a 2 millimetre gap, and then sweep that round and join that one at the front of the head. And this far one out here is the one that we kind of drew in the middle of the paper. You swing that round, as you can see on there, under the 5, and you swing it around down to that one that we just put on there. So where's my up? Oh, now 3.7. There we go. 5.3.3. Marker. So that's across, that's across. Yeah, so sweep that up. Bring that down. So basically, if you look up, that's just where the orange bit's going to go. So you see this little bit here. So make sure you leave a little bit of a gap so we can paint a little bit of orange. So just leave enough gap there. I would do it underneath. So the line underneath, personally, I would bring that down possibly a little bit more. That gives you a little bit more leeway because you can paint up to that. But just give yourself a little bit of a gap under there. The top one, we're going to pop his eye right on the top there, as you can see. So that's to put his orange part on. So just be mindful of that when you put that on there. And then down with his beak. He's kind of got like a bit of a rounded beak, really. Back under the 5, swing that around. Up and down. So just make sure you've got a little bit of a gap for his orange stripe, really. You can close it, you can close it up with paint. Just make sure you penciled it in so you know where that is. And you can rub out that little bit of his front of his face so you can actually see his whole beak on there. And if you need to take it further than that dot, that's fine, because they have big long beaks, so it doesn't matter if it goes a little bit further. Ooh, now we get the eye, I think I need, like I do my glasses, something to tie the ruler around my neck in art club so I don't lose it. Drill a hole in the middle of this and have it on a string around my neck. Because I'm constant. If I don't have this short one, this long one keeps hitting my camera. It keeps getting in the way. It's all right when we're on the other horizontal way, but when we're on portrait mode, I need my little ruler. How's everyone doing? Does it look like a kind of almost Kingfisher? Not. Hopefully we've got beats on there. Oh dear. Nikki, you right? You following me? Okay. Oh dear. I think we lost Liz out of her caravan again, bless her. I can't see her. Nicola, I think she's got internet problems. I think the wind's blowing in the wrong direction. Have we all got a beacon? Thumbs on if we're up to that stage and I know I can move on. Good. Let's get the eye on. Now, as usual, I'm going to give you an area to work with, and then you use your artistic judgment to kind of place it a little bit better of how you want. It's a little square above. There you go. She's coming back in again. We're having another go. Right. So what I want you to do is from the center point here, go about 1/2 centimetre to the left and draw yourself a line all the way up to the 6 centimetre marker. This is 6 here. So 0.5, just draw yourself. We're going to create a box like we did last time. 0.5 up to 6 centimetres. You can go a little bit beyond it if that helps. I go a little bit beyond it. And then out to the right, go 0.4. Doesn't matter if it's 1/2 centimetre. Really, it just has a slightly bigger eye, which won't make much difference. So 0.4, 0.5, all the way up to the 6 and beyond, because we're going to start to create a box. Now, what you want you to do, hopefully you've got 2 parallel lines going up, at the 5 centimetre marker, draw yourself a line across. Now this is where you might have to adjust your little orange line a little bit. It's absolutely fine. And then at the 6 centimetre marker, draw yourself a line across. Now I'm just going to adjust my, there you go. My line goes there. So I'm just going to adjust this down a little bit and take that out from my eye, rub that out. And that's an area approximately. Now it does not matter if it goes slightly out from that area. That's just a rough idea of where the eye should sit. And there's an enlarged version of it. It is the sideward oval shape. This is the box here. It sits at this angle, 45 degrees in the eye, in that little area I've given you in there. So just get that in. It's quite a tight area like the blue tip, but this will make or break your Kingfisher. No pressure. And don't forget to leave the white dot.
Sorry, but how wide is that eye?
No, you don't draw it. It's what big as this. This is an enlarged version of this. You should have a box here, Sarah.
Yeah, I have, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
one
yeah.
here, look, I've just drawn a little oval in there. Look, there's mine. That's the space we've been given. I've given you, and it doesn't matter if it goes slightly outside the box. This is just a rough idea. I just want to make sure you've got it at that 45 degree. I think that's 45 degrees, and I'm never very good at maths. 45 degree angle where that goes through. You see it sits sideways. It doesn't sit like that. It sits corner to corner. Yeah, like my enlarged version there. And it is quite tight in there. And it will look better once it's uniballed in. So if you want to, and you're confident that it's all as it should be, you can, or if you're not too sure, you can just pencil it in. I just think they look weird with just white bits, white eyes. So for me, at the moment, I'm just going to go, and it's actually, the key is to get that little crisp See that little white line right around the eye? That's really quite key. If you see in the original picture how his eye looks, see? It's got that white bit around it. Big beady eyes to catch the fish. So just draw, and if you need to draw, once you've drawn it on, if you need to, like mine, I would probably, I've actually coloured mine in a little bit because it makes it easier for me. Once I've got that circle on there, then I will go around and I'll just push it a little bit further out until I'm happy that it's reached as far as I dare before it starts hitting the outside one. I mean, I colour mine in because I think they look strange without an eye, but you don't have to. And you can rub out that square, you don't really need it if it gets in your way. You're happy with your eye. If anyone needs me to look at anything, just let me know you've sent it on my phone. So I'm just going to tidy mine up now. And if you're more happy, you can actually uniball it and it doesn't matter. But if you want to wait a second, I'm happy to. Just be a nice little beady eye like that. That's it. Just sit there. I'm just going to, doesn't matter, stripe go under here. I'm just going to bring this slight orange stripe down now on mine. I'm going to take that go down. It's just a matter of adjusting everything every so often once you've added something else in, because in the picture, if you look, it goes under his eye. There, look. So just adjust your lines accordingly from the reference picture as we go along. And then once you've done the eye, you can add these other bits on here. So he's got like a little bit where his head's split at the top there because his head's slightly turned. So you're going to take that from the top of the beak and it's going to go over his forehead a little bit. So you can see that there. Just use your eye to follow your head. You don't need to go all the way like that. I'm going to bit that out because I don't think we need to go that far. I reckon that far's enough. About halfway. Made a judgment. I've changed it. And then you've got his little lines on his beak. Here, look, we're going to put his lines on here where you've got that white bit.
I've just sent you a photo, Debbie.
Okay. So add the lines on the beak, as you can see on there. Pop yours on. Good, Sarah. It's fine. You could probably push that little bit out a little bit more, as long as it's nice and crisp once you fill that in. That's at the right angle. Good. I think that should work for me, I reckon. They always look strange until you put the black bit in, I think. Yeah. Maybe make him a little bit more oval, like an actual, yeah?
That's what I was struggling with, the oval.
Yeah, you just basically you just have to keep going. I would use your inner one is more oval than the outside one. So you can use the inner one as reference. Oh, let me just mark where I think it goes in. With my finger. This part here. There. That part there you need to work on, Sarah. Just send it back. So I'm running out of the box there. So these are the lines on his beak. So pop those on. There. You will be leaving that white. And then you've got these little bits under his chin here. We're starting to mark out where all these little plumage is. So this is his little bit on the chin here. And you need to highlight the 3 cm. We're going to work from the 3 cm marker for his body because that's going to come down here. So just draw some lines out that come near this 3 cm marker here. They just come from under his beak. Just choose a part. It's like, look at the reference picture, it just comes under from under his beak there. So it almost follows that line there. That gives you any help. Top of his beak, you can almost swoosh that down from the top of his beak through. And just bring it down to almost a 3, and then the other one just sits sort of edge of his body and comes down. And you just need to highlight the 4 because we're going to use that in a second. Just checking there's nothing else on there we want to highlight. You can still see the other bits in orange if you haven't quite done your other parts on there. So we've just done the beak. We've just put his little stripes on that goes from his nose. Just take your pencil and just lift it off and then bring it through to about the 3. This is the 3 centimetre marker here. And then from under his beak, bring it down. This is a 3 centimetre marker here. You've highlighted the 4. I want you to draw sort of the front of his tummy here. It just comes through and down, as you can see, through the 4 and goes all the way down to his tail. He's got some little stripes at the front there. So just choose your little belly marker that you're going to do. It's not like a straight, it's going to be like wiggly. You're going to make it wiggly in a minute. With your pen, it goes right to the edge of that. Hopefully it's starting to look like a kingfisher. Ooh. Finally. Need a brown. How's everyone doing? Right, so if you have got his front of his body on, what I want you to do here, this is a 7 centimetre marker up here. Just draw yourself a little pencil line and a little arch all the way around to the sort of almost, this is the top of his beak, just sort of slightly down a little bit. Then you're going to draw these little dash lines. Well, actually, this is the part we're working on, just so you know. This part here, around here like that. Let's just draw a little arch very lightly through where you took that little marker we did that we went up and down from. Just draw yourself an arch over so it meets almost the front of his beak there. And then you've got these funny little square marks, which is, I don't know what they are. Markings, basically. Kingfisher markings. These little sort of odd squares that aren't quite square kind of sit in there near his eye. Maybe that's what determines the difference between each one, and then draw those little dash lines. And you can rub out that little arch. You don't actually need it. That's not anything going to be any part of it. That was just a measurement line to work from. Draw little markers on his tummy. The little feathers that come down. That kind of determines the shape of his body. There we go. How's everyone doing? So basically, I will rub this out. You don't need that anymore. So you rub that out. You just left for that. That's just a marker of mine. I just got mine on the background here. I kind of rubbed out and put these little bits on. These little bits on. Kind of follow the shape of his body. He's got some little bits there under there. We're almost ready to go. We've got to put the branch on now. Some other black bits. So the orange bits you should have done. And then we've got some other bits Rob's put on. That's kind of like the shape of his, I was going to say fur, it's not feathers, that there. And what we're going to do is you branch. Now you don't have to put him on a branch. You can choose what you want to put him on really. This is the 6 centimetre marker here, out to the left. And this is the 8. So it needs to be sort of that width. So do the 6 centimetre marker and it goes through his body and down and underneath where you've got your little tail, as you can see on there. And go out to the 8 and just approximately follow that down. So you've got a nice thick branch and it just disappears off the page. It will go behind his body, the top bit, as you can see on the screen there. And just lift your pencil off and then come down somewhere, and it can be wibbly wobbly, it's a branch, so it doesn't really matter. And then go for the 8, and it gives you an approximate width of his body to come down. So it should be quite a thick one. The one we did last week was quite thin. And then his little feet you can see on there. And I just drew some kind of wood patterns, which is that funny little oval terminus wood. You don't have to put him on a branch. You can decide something else. Now, if you want to know where his feet, because I know Nikki's going to ask me where that starts from. This one here on mine starts out at about, it's just inside the 2 centimetre marker here. I hold that up, it's probably about 1.8 out. Can measure it exactly. Let's have a look. Where's this tiny ruler? 2 centimetres out. So that's 2 centimetres out here. Start his foot, if you want that, that helps you. It's at the 7 centimetre marker down here on mine. But you might have, depending on how you've done your body, you'll just have to slightly adjust your branch. I'm going to make my branch go a bit further up. And that will bring his body down. So that's a 7. 7 and 2, so approximately there. So I'm just going to make his foot come out from that one. Let's have the foot come out. And it's really just using your eye a little bit on these little feet. Goes on. The next one comes out at 6. This is on mine. This is a 6. And just being little toners. You can't hardly see them on the picture. They kind of disappear into the branch really, because you're looking at his lovely orange body.
It's really raining now.
Yes, well, I'm in a conservatory here. My studio is a conservatory. Is it, who's really raining? Not raining too bad here at the moment. It's coming though, I think. Tomorrow I'm going to be out doing my running groups in the rain, I reckon. As long as it doesn't lighten it up, I'm all right. We run in everything but lightning, obviously. Now, I'm going to pop something else on here in a second. I'm going to uniball and tidy up. So while I'm still doing that, I'll be getting all my, trying to locate my paints that disappeared underneath the table here. I think I can make do with this other palette here. We've got orange. Yeah, we have orange, yellow, brown. What else do we need? Sap green. Might be the only one I don't have, but we can make do. That'll be fine. Let's do that. Let's do that. That'll teach me to balance something on the side. Right. Let's just have a look how everyone's doing. Does everyone want me to look at anything? Just shout. Fire tablet is back.
Are we uniballing now then?
Yes, I'm just going to slide something under here, Shirley. Oh, you're up and speedy.
I just didn't want to make a mess.
Sorry.
I just didn't want to make a mess.
Okay, that's no, not going to make a mess. If you've got yours on there, this is where we need to be at. I'm just going to come up. Let's hope my camera doesn't turn itself off a little bit more. There we go. So, this is the stage you need to be at. So use your uniball. Now you can see, like last week, we created kind of like a little feathery effect. So just sort of dash your uniball around so he's all nice and feathery. And obviously fill in his eye. These are the little stripes going out from his nose, create that kind of feather stuff. This is his other shadow on the other side. Then we got the little, so that's really in getting his eye in. And I did my little squiggles like I normally do, but don't feel you have to do that. That's just what I do. And it just disappears off the page. So yes, get your piece of artwork looking like that. Get rid of all the grids on there. In the meantime, I will get to my stuff ready. Let's have a look what paintbrushes I will use.
I've sent you a picture, Debbie.
Right, lovely. Let's have a look. Is that directly from over top?
Yeah. Yeah. I sent two, but
So I would say it's just his head needs to go a little bit higher. So it's slightly above, that's a 9 centimetre dot that you've got there, isn't it? Or the
Oh, I don't know. I've just lost the numbers tonight.
You don't need to know them. Use your eye a little bit because you are good at doing that. I would just take that up. Ooh, I can't draw on this phone. Sorry a second. Use your eye a little bit more because you are much better at doing that. Right, I've just sent that through. His head needs to be a bit higher. And then you can use, do you see what I mean? Just needs to go up a bit more. He's almost got like a little, he's almost got a head like you had last time on your little blue tip, and then we had to change it last week.
I know.
You've gone the other way. So you've done this with the blue tit head, and you've done his head this week. You've done it round the opposite way.
Yes, well.
Give him a little cone head, basically. And, and then we need to put his little markings on his body down there. So I'm just going back to see where we put that on.
I think I have. You may not be able to see it.
Oh, have you put it on faintly?
I think so. I don't
It's not on
know.
this one you've sent me.
I sent a second one with it all done.
Oh yes, that's above that one. Okay. Yeah, I would just say slightly. Oh yeah, okay. Missed that one.
It's all right.
Very slightly, just go about 2 mil above that dot.
What dot?
I'm just going to mark the top of his head, basically. That bit there, I'm sending it back. Just go about 2 mil slightly above. Other than that, it looks good. Sorry, I didn't see that one coming through.
All right.
Good, good, good. You did follow all right. You're fine.
I've had a bad day.
That's all right. It's all right, Lolly. Hey, Elaine, good. That's good to go, that is. So you can just tidy him up. You can put his eye in, his Uniball eye in, get him all Uniballed up, or whatever pen you're using. You might be using the micro ones. As long as it's waterproof, it doesn't matter what kind of pen you're using. Which ones do I use? This one. Where's my other favourite one? Let's try that. Whilst you're waiting, you can just kind of make your paints all damp, the ones we're going to use. And sometimes I use these micro ones, are actually quite good. They're waterproof as well. You get a bit tighter lines, as in narrower, thinner lines. I think Jenny's should have one of those. Has anyone else sent any? Okay, that's good. Good, good. Just let me know if you want me to have a look at anything. So this is, oh, wax resist. Please don't let me forget that at all. That's quite important. Quite important for this one. Very important. I'm going to put it there so I don't forget. Kerry, you're here this week to remind me. I actually was looking for my pencil sharpener. That's what I was looking for when I tipped everything. Here it is. Right. If you have my wax resistors a bit blunt, as you can see, there's mine. So I'm actually going to sharpen mine up a little bit in my pencil sharpener, which you can. Because I need these little white dots quite small. So you basically sharpen it like a pencil. I've got sharp. That's why my old paints went all over the floor, because that's what I was looking for. See these little white bits here? They are done with the, yeah, we're done with the wax resist. So give me your thumbs up when you, no hurry at all, got your Kingfisher to the stage of where it's ready to paint. I'm just getting all my stuff ready in the background here. Avril, you've been to Ascot, and was that tennis you were at?
Yeah, was it Queen's?
Queen's, I thought it was. Yay, you've been all round all the nice things to do. That looked lovely. I haven't been to Queen's. So it's Wimbledon. That means Wimbledon's not long then, is it? Are they doing Wimbledon?
Yeah, I think they are.
Ah, good. That's usually like 2 weeks before.
I just bought a ticket today and I got one for the centre court.
Have you?
Yeah.
What, they're selling them, like, because you usually have to have a ballot or something, don't you, to get Wimbledon tickets?
Yeah, and we've normally, if we've gone, we've got them in the ballot. But my husband and daughter are members of a tennis club. So I don't know if you get a,
So,
I think you get a code or something. But because we went for the first week, because I didn't want to go when it was full capacity,
yeah.
for the first week, there's half the crowd. And everyone has to be tested. It's part of the, you know, the government pilots.
Okay.
So everyone has to be tested, show their vaccine cards and
Yeah.
all
Oh,
sorts of
that's good.
things. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I went a long time
First thing I've
ago.
done really.
That's that. I went a long time ago. I had a friend who worked at the Queen's in the kind of admin side, and she used to get free tickets every year, and she didn't want to go, so she would, she'd offer the centre court tickets out who hadn't had them in her group of friends. So once I'd had centre court, I couldn't get centre court again, but I got other tickets, so I went a few times. It's nice.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't want to go. I've been like millions of times. It
Yeah.
didn't interest her. I'm like, what? Really? You're joking? Like, no, I've been and done that. I've got t-shirt.
Right.
Anymore.
And my daughter went to Ladies' Day today at Watercolour.
Ah, you see, they're all on. That's where Apple was in earlier this week. Are they usually on all at the same time, all these things? Well, I just missed.
There's a lot in June.
Yeah, they're all
Is that
around hay
new?
fever season. They're all around hay fever season, aren't they? Because it's always like Royal Ascot is hay fever day,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And I always remember my dad going to Queen's and coming home extremely happy, sporting a Stella Artois boater. And I think he used to go most years with his company, and we had a whole stack of Stella Artois boaters.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but hay fever was really bad this year.
Yeah. And I
bad,
spent
yeah.
3 days, I think, 4 days in the house.
Have you? Because of the hay
Yeah.
fever?
Because it was so bad. It
I
was
was
very
up in
high.
chat last night. I nearly couldn't breathe. It was awful, really.
Yeah.
And I don't normally get it that bad, so people who actually get it. No,
Yeah, a
no,
lot of people are suffering now.
must
It's so bad.
I've got this new palette here, and I'm trying to work out what colours are what. Not new palette, the one I'm kind of. I don't know which colours are. So just bear with me at the moment. Just playing. Oh, okay, that looks like phthalo blue.
Caroline and I are going back to
Dive
Ascot
down and try and find my
tomorrow.
phthalo blue. Maybe I'll do that. Let's have a look. On the floor.
You see, Debbie, Caroline and I are going back to Ascot tomorrow, but this time we'll be in the rain.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit wet tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, all the Ascot residents are part of the government test scheme for the event, so all done our COVID test.
Oh, so you've got, so that Ascot's part of the testing as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think the rain's, I've got a run group in pouring rain tomorrow morning, I think. I don't think it's going to be very kind to us. It was quite nice last night though. It was really nice. The weather was actually lovely. It started raining. Oh, that's phthalo blue. Okay, I've located it. It was lovely last night at the lookout. It started to rain, which sounds awful, but it was lovely because I'd done a track session and it literally was so boiling hot. I actually nearly wasn't very well. It was that hot. Well, that looks like orangey red. You just bear with me. I'm trying to locate my bin stuff on the floor and trying to kind of work out what's what. Just give me a thumbs up when you are at the stage of painting. There's absolutely no hurry because you just need to tidy it up and get it like I have on the screen there. And then we're going to hit the paint. First, we're going to do the wax with this though, because this is actually probably out of all the birds that we're doing, the most important one to do that on. And if you can sharpen it, it's even better. As I said, you can see mine sharpened there. Because they're quite small little markers to do.
Oh my word, I've got a kingfisher.
Have you? Yay, it worked after a bit of crazy instructions.
Yeah. Actually, looks like a kingfisher.
Yay. My job is done, Wendy.
Exactly. My work here is done.
You know what? I always worry because sometimes I just feel like I'm going off at a tangent sometimes. And it's confused me because my paints are on the, you know, when something's on the floor there and I know I need them, but I can't get them. And so my head's on the floor there, keeps looking down at colours that I could potentially pick up, but I've given up now and gone with my other paint box. I found the blue I need, so I'm happy. But yeah, tidy it all up and get it to the stage that you can see on the screen there. So he's quite a simplistic bird. Well, there is a bit of indigo. Okay, I need to locate a bit of indigo. Maybe that's indigo. Oh, that's the other one. I think that one's indigo. If you haven't got indigo, go paints. Does that indigo? Yeah. So I'll need that one. I'll get that one out of the way. The moral of this story: do not balance your art box on the edge of a table, and then go reach for some kitchen towel and it goes everywhere, because they don't stick to the bottom of your plastic box. And now I have little bits all over the place. And now I don't know what colour's what. I'm going to have to go back in and check. Which I suppose is a good thing. That means I'm going to clean my palette. This one doesn't look very good. It's a bit messy. I think these are still out. Oh, that is phthalo blue. I don't know why I didn't use my instructions. All these nice places everyone's going. I'm going to Ascot in a couple of weeks. It's not I don't know what it is. I've got to wear a dress, can you believe? I've got to find one in my cupboard. I haven't worn a dress for 3 years, 2 years. Must be 2 years now. How long have we been locked up? I don't know. I keep thinking, I'm like, yeah, it's a long time. I was trying to think last time I ran on track. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably only 6 months ago. We've been locked up about a year, haven't we? So it must be about 18 months. I'm trying to think how long ago it was. Nicola, you and Liz chatting to each other? You managed to hear her in her caravan. She's still she's not wobbling in the wind. Ask her if it's raining. We won't get Liz to talk because she messes up all the...
Debbie, what colours are we doing again? Sorry. And are we supposed to have done our wax resist yet?
Yeah, I haven't done the
You
colour.
can't hear me then.
I can't hear you. Get Nicola to tell me what it's like. You tell Nicola and she can tell me. Can she not hear you?
I can hear you. I can hear Nicola. You can't see me then.
I can see you, but I can hardly hear you.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I don't. This is my son's tablet, so I stole it to take it away on holiday. So I don't know how it works. But okay. Do you want to see? This is our campsite.
We're getting a
Can you see that?
I can't see anything except you. Oh,
That's our campsite.
very nice.
There's nobody here.
There isn't
Except
anybody
us.
there. And that's because it's
No,
raining?
just us.
possibly?
It's absolutely no, it's lovely. Steve's sitting outside because I've kicked him out because there's not enough room in the van for my arse.
How did you manage to get a campsite with just you on it? Is it something,
don't know.
you said?
We are quite smelly, so that might be the issue. We're just lucky.
Yes.
It won't be like this tomorrow, I'm sure of that.
Oh,
It
it
is
might be
beautiful.
tomorrow because it's going to pour with rain. So you might get them on Saturday when they can actually put the tent up. You might get everyone sleeping in their cars. But tomorrow it's not a good day to put a tent up.
No,
anyone
exactly.
There's please send
We
them-
don't care. We've had a lovely time already, so.
Yeah, rain. You expect rain when you camping. Right, we are using colour-wise. If you want to put a little bit of water in, that's what I did with mine. I just damped them up with a little dot.
Oh, I've got no water. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, you've drunk it all. Let me just mute it, everybody.
I've got no water either. You're disorganised, so I won't.
That's all right. So get your water. I will go through the colours a few times. Phthalo blue is obviously his lovely Kingfisher blue. I used orange. Mine is cadmium orange. And I think I put a bit of yellow down here. I can see on here. So a bit, some kind of yellow. Cadmium yellow is a good one because lemon yellow I find I hardly use that. I find that a bit strong. I'll probably only use that for flowers. Bit of burnt umber, bit of indigo. So any colour, whatever you've drawn for him to sit on. Mine is a bit of burnt umber, a bit of indigo. His beak's indigo. If you do not have indigo, just Payne's grey or something. And that's all I popped underneath his body there. And then in my background, I put a bit of phthalo blue because I've got that going already. And I've put a bit of sap green dripping into each other. And then the dots that I splattered were in orange, but feel free to choose a different colour of backgrounds. I'm just going to have a look at Amadine's background. You don't have to do, oh, that's lovely, Amadine. Well done. Like that. Yay. What I would do, Amadine, as a Kerry, is it Kerry? You said do that. Take a picture of it. It was Kerry, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Kerry said what she does on every art session is takes a photograph of it, a good photograph of it with your phone. Then if you mess up your painting, you've got your drawing there and you can just send it to your printer or whatever and print yourself another one off. And
Yeah, I do 3 now. I do 3 when I've got all the pencil on before I uniball it. And then I do 1 when I've uniballed it and rubbed out all the pencil.
yeah,
And then I do the final one.
good. That's a good process to get into. Oh, Nikki, love that. Well done. He's lovely. Lovely, lovely. So I'm not going to do the wax resist to you all ready and watching. But so what we're doing, cadmium orange, cadmium yellow, phthalo blue, burnt umber, and then whatever, mine was just like a sap green. You can use any green. I don't particularly like the vermilion green. I find it a bit bright, but it's really down to your personal choice what you use on that. I don't have my little lady from Ireland with the fancy art box. She must be away. But we will need the wax resist. So if you just get your paints ready and your brushes ready, and no one else anything. Cool. I'm going to use this to actually show you where the wax resist goes. Because if I do it on my white one, you're not really going to see. I'm going to do it on my white one behind the scenes here. So I've got that ready. So everyone all right, ready to do their wax resist little things? Yep. Now they are literally little dashes with your wax crayon or whatever you're using, your white one or your wax. Do you want me to put my camera right down? Let me go right down. There we go. And they are little lines. So you've got the side of his head here because he's just slightly turned his head. You can put a few up there. So I'm just going to work on the, so go from the top of his head. I'm just going to put those on first. So they are literally a little line and you do a line and stop, line and stop. So you're trying to create just a little line with wax. And then this little line that we drew from the top of his beak and we drew that around his head. So this little line on mine here is this one here. So I've just put wax resist there, which obviously you can't see. And this line here we're going to work on now. And you can see on the screen there, it follows the shape of his head. And it just kind of fizzles out. So just pop those on there, as you can see on the screen. Just follow that line and press fairly hard so you don't lose it. And follow it round, just let it fade off. And then you can do a couple at the back there. I've got a couple going on the back there. You can check, if you turn it to the light, you sort of just tip it, you can actually see where you've put it. So you can check you've got that nice little arch going. If you turn it to the light, you should actually hopefully see it. If you can't see it, you haven't pressed it hard enough. Oh, someone's got, I can't think what you call it. Liz has got her, what do you call that stuff? I don't use it very often. You have to peel it off, like copy decks.
No, I forgot my wax resist, so I'm using acrylic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's going to work or not.
Oh, it will. It will.
Yeah, it's because I
oh, that's a good one, Liz.
so.
If you don't have your wax resist, you paint white acrylic on these, it will repel the watercolour. It will, because it's plastic based. It will work.
Good.
And so where we've got his eye here, and we drew that like little arch on there, we're going to draw some little dashes, you can see on there, to follow around his eye. So just pop those on as well. Very inventive. And then under here, this little white bit, I just put a bit on here so I didn't lose it when I was painting. Put a little bit over the back there too. I don't think I put any on the beak. If you are worried about losing the top of his beak, just put a line. I'll do that on this one here. You can put a line on the top of his beak or wherever you, if you're worried about losing that, feel free to put that on there. That's up to your judgment on the white bit there. I just used my paintbrush on that. And then I just did the top. I'm going to come up now, which don't need to be too close. I did the top of the log because the light's coming down on it. So I just drew my wax resist down the top of the stick, sorry, branch, or whatever we're going to call it. Oh, where did I get that from? I've got a bit of phthalo blue on my picture already. I don't know how I managed that. Playing around, I think. So just turn it to the lights and you should be able to see where your wax exists. As long as we've got this kind of, I would call like a zipper pattern going on his head, you should be good. You won't lose that kind of, that's these kind of markings on his head. Move that around. I don't know where I've got that from. That's a bit of phthalo blue there. That's decided to jump on my page, but that's fine. Hopefully that's part. Oh, it is part colour. I'll get rid of that one with painting.
Oh, it was a beauty spot.
Yeah, it's a pin. I don't know how it appeared. Obviously, while I was playing around to find what design, what colour, what paint was what, I splotched it everywhere. But we won't do him at the moment. We're going to do his head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my phthalo blue.
What size brush is that?
Oh, I'm
Debbie?
using an 8. Feel free to use whatever size you're comfortable with, really. Because what we're going to do is we're going to just work in this little area here at the moment and create that kind of effect with his head. So I'm going to go in with, I'm going to go in dry, I think, in the moment. So I'm just going to go in with my phthalo blue very carefully. This is one of these ones, should have a nice point on it, so you can go almost under his eye here. It's very tight under there. I'm just going to leave that at the moment. Just going to get some colour going on here. We're going to spread it out a bit in a minute. See my wax resist starting to show. You should hopefully have your picture that you're working from as well, so you'll kind of see where it goes. So this is quite sort of thick that I'm putting on this part here. I've just popped it on dry, that's all. Which means the paper is dry. I haven't wet the paper. Just go underneath that there, very carefully. Turn my page a little bit so I can get under his eye.
I haven't wet the paper, but have you wet the brush?
You do need to wet the brush to get paint on it, Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't wet the paper. So that's just dry, just working on dry. It's just a bit easier to control if it's dry, paper is dry. And as you can see, we're working in quite a tight little area there. And it's quite sort of thickish paint that I popped on. But yes, you should always wet your paint with water and then go in with a little bit of water. And this side here, it's a little bit darker on his face around that side. Just add a little bit of dark that goes up there. And possibly on his head up here. You can see the stripes are starting to appear. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean my brush. Just have a tiny little bit of water on it. And I'm going to start to pull it out. So it's just water on my brush. Start to get rid of that harsh light. Go in and clean my brush. Just gently pull it out. Just gently pulling it out. There's some paint there. I'm just going to borrow some of that and pull it out. Which means I'm just getting it. My paintbrush has got nothing on it but water. I'm just using the pigment that I put on there already to give that colour on his head. I'm just sort of spreading all about a little bit. And then we've got this side of his head here. And I've already put lots of paint on there. I'm just going to pull that up. So I want to highlight those little bits of wax resist we put on there. So don't panic, you can go back in and add a little bit more. So just going to clean that up a little bit. So here, I want these to be highlighted a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Now it's damp, it will take it a bit more and it will spread. If you're using watercolour paper, it will just spread on its own. And you can see I'll just follow the shape of the head, clean my brush, and all I've got on it now is water. Just get rid of those lines. Let's fade that out. No problem, Caroline. You start to create the shape of his head with your paint. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to add, you can just keep adding as you need and want. Just a bit darker on this part here. So I'll start to almost flick this up. Off that dark bit, flick that up. Around. Try not to turn my paper too much. Clean my brush. Just gonna put water on that now. So pull that out a bit. Just take that up. A bit on this side, just down there. So hopefully, where you put your wax, you should have your like phthalo blue. You should have your little stripes. And you see as it gets wetter, it just kind of spreads on its own. Which is what I like about watercolour paper. I'm just going to make this a little bit darker here. Clean my brush. Just water on this now. Just going to go in and get rid of that. Just split that up a little bit, like that. And see his eye just sits there. So you're just pulling it up. You're making that kind of fan from his eye. You can almost flick with your brush up with the paint. And you can go back and add more if you need. Now I've got this blue bit here, but we'll get rid of it in a minute. So same again, it's easy to control if it's dry. So we're going to go in just on the dry paper. This is kind of almost under his chin. Now I'm going to leave a little bit for his orange here. I'm actually going to leave, you've probably got a bigger line than me. I don't have one, so I'm actually going to leave a little line.
Are we still on the phthalo blue, Debbie?
Yeah, he's phthalo blue basically. He's got
okay.
no that's the brightest blue I think to do with that. So that's just dry, a paint on dry paper. So I'm going to clean my brush. You shouldn't have that blob there, but I'm going to get rid of that in a minute. I'm going to pull that in. So all on my brush is water now. So just pull that out. And mix that blob somehow I got on there in. And that's kind of his blue stripe under his chin. And you can go back to his head a little bit more and add if you want, if you feel you haven't got it dark enough. See, in his eye, that bit here, it's too wet at the moment for me. Oh, that's a bit dry now. I want that quite dark under there because that's almost like the recess of his face. That's probably the bit that goes in the most. I want that quite dark. For me, that needs to be quite dark. I mean, you can go in with your uniball or your brush, whatever you've got on your fingers. So we've got, I'm just going to work down. I want that to dry a little bit, this bit, so we can go in with the orange. So we're just going to work down his body. So it's also planning how you paint stuff, because obviously you've got to work where your hand's going to go as well. We need that, these two to dry before we add this little bit in. So I'm just going to leave that for a second. So we're just going to work our way down. So this little bit here is almost white, which we don't leave white. I'm going to put a little bit of, I think this is indigo, hopefully it is. Indigo or Payne's grey, whichever you've got. You're going to go onto the dry paper. We're not going to wet the paper till we get to the background, I don't think. I'm looking at my picture. This is quite nice, and so I'm just going to add a bit of indigo under there. And then clean my brush. Not much because it's white. I'll just pull that out. And that's it. I'm not going to do any more of that. We've got a little bit there. I'm just going to put that in there. And then we're going to go back to the phthalo blue again, for the back of his body. Actually, we might add in orange first. Let me think, because we're going to be working there and we're going to be working there. You see, I've changed my mind, because if we work here, then we've got to come across and work in this orange part here. So let's go to the cadmium orange and put this in. So these are decisions you'll make when you do any kind of picture. And I might actually go with a bit of a bigger brush, because we've got quite a big area. So we're going to do his tummy here. And I think I might go in, let's do some wet and wet. So I'm going to go in with a wet brush. So this got water on it, and that's all. I'm going to paint his tummy with water. Let's do something different. And then we'll do the back bit in dry paint. So we're using different techniques here, so it's quite fun. We can play with different types of techniques here. So I just painted his body with water. Go all the way down there. And then we're going to go in with the cadmium orange, which we've got some on his tummy. Because it's got water on it, it should start to just spread on its own. Actually, I like this orange in this pot here. Put through on the floor. There. And go all the way down under his tummy. We're going to add in some cadmium yellow as well. And on the top of his tummy here. So I tend to get the paint on first, and then I'll spread it about a bit where I want it to go. So this is where, sometimes I leave a little gap, as you can see, where I don't want the colours to really touch each other yet. I can push that up in a minute once I'm ready. At the moment, I just want that to kind of just sit there so I know where the orange is. So I'm just going around, because the middle of his tummy is really the light part. And I'm carrying on down here, putting on the bottom. Ooh, sorry. And down to his tail. And then I'm going to add in, because I think orange is sometimes a little bit boring on its own. Let's go right up there. I think that's all right now to push that up. And add a bit of cadmium yellow, just add a bit of contrast, just in the bottom of his tail, and here, some of this colour. So mix it in with the orange, just kind of takes the orangey off. I know he is orange, just takes that orange off. Yellow makes it, and then you can go in with a bit of orange as well if you want again. So she's gone on the outside. So then I'm going to go in. So I want to use, don't want to lose these too much. I'm going to flip them down. We're going with just a damp brush. Now that's it. It's just water on that. I'm going to start to spread and water these edges and bring them to the middle. You can add more orange. That might need to dry a little bit more, but there we go. That'll take it. I'll come down with a little bit more orange. So he has a really bright tummy. Like so. I actually used a stick or the end of my brush to create, like we did the hedgehog a long time ago. You can just use the end of your paintbrush if you don't have a stick. But I did do kind of a bit more feathery markings. Oh, I've got black paint on that. Let's do it this way around. There you go. So you can just use the end of your paintbrush to create that kind of feathery. You can see that it's coming through. You'll see it in a bit if I hold it up in a minute. Almost gives them that. We did do it a long time ago when we did. I'll hold it up. You can probably see, there you go. You can see where my end of my brush has made these kind of scratchy marks. Give it kind of a feathery effect. It's just actually a barbecue stick. Won't be so nice to get back on it. And that's what I'm doing on his body. I'm going to work my way across. You can add bits if you need to. Take bits off when you kind of go. Take it off there. So this is taking off technique here. I don't want that too orange up there. So I'll take a little bit off. So I've just got a damp brush on here. And that's it. And then if you use a damp brush, where you've got too much paint, you can take paint off. Just go in and hoover it up again. So let's work away and give him a little bit of phthalo blue over there. Let's go in with dry again. So this is dry paper. so we can control it a little bit more. You can see the difference in wet and wet and wet into dry. It's really the control of the paint. I mean, if your preferred method is going with paint onto the dry paper, feel free to do that. I just like to give you a chance to have a go at different techniques. It's fun to have a go. That's probably quite wet. I'm going to get that touching each other in a minute, but we'll go carefully. And clean my brush. I've just got water on this now, so I'll bring that out. Just go in and tease it out. When it starts dragging the same colour, it's not quite yet. That's a bit right. You just clean your brush, go back in. I won't mix that, let that dry for a little bit. See how that wax resist makes the top of his head? That pattern is lovely. Might actually put a little bit more blue on my head of mine here to see those little stripes. So you might see something you might want to touch up. There you go. Go in with a bit of water. Everyone all right? I'm just carrying on. Are we keeping up? Oh, I've covered my phone up, so if anyone does my painting. Just shout if you need any help. I'll just slow down for a minute. So slow down, Sarah.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
I will. I'll sit there now. I'll just wait because I'm getting paint bleeding into that, so I don't want that to do that. So I'll wait a second. No problem. I get carried away, you see. I'm like, painting.
Yeah, we know.
Very quiet. You normally keep me in check.
Well, you know, I thought I'd let you have your moment.
See, it's not many colours really, the Kingfisher. They're quite easy going. Lindsay sent me something. She's not on Art Club. What did she send me? Let me read that while everyone's catching up. She sent me about the information on, there we go. Female Kingfishers wear lipstick. What? Okay. Okay, so on her thing she sent me, she says the way to tell the difference between a female and a male Kingfisher is the female Kingfisher wears lipstick. The female has orange on the lower part of her beak, whereas the male is pure black. So this one I'm doing is a male. So if you want yours to be female, you paint the bottom of the beak here orange, apparently. Didn't know that. A bit like the blue tip. So you haven't got hope in hell's chance to tell them which if it's a boy or girl, because they fly too fast. Especially Kingfishers. I've seen two in my life. So I have no idea if it's a boy or a girl. Kingfishers' nests are hidden away in the banks, so they don't need to be camouflaged, unlike ducks who nest out in the open. Okay, that's why they're bright. So the female ducks tend to be camouflaged so the predators doesn't see her while she's sitting on the eggs. That's why female ducks are brown. There we go, learn something every day. Didn't know that either. Okay, let's have a look. Did you know that Kingfishers aren't really that blue colour? It's to do with the pigments in their feathers and how their feathers reflect the light and how our light perceives it. Okay. Didn't know that either. Kingfishers are very territorial and only see one pair on a nesting bank. And that depends on how many pairs you see, will depend on how many, oh God, and they fight to the death. If someone crosses their, oh, they're quite vicious then. They're tiny though, aren't they? They're fast and tiny. So they live in the bank. I didn't know that. They don't nest on the bank, they live in it. So that's why they're bright orange. And hence why we have brown female ducks, because they nest on the edge. Didn't know that either. Thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay's not here, but I read that out. There you go. That's good. I didn't know any of that. So if you want yours to be, I'm going to look, see what a female one is. Maybe I'll make mine into a female one. Let's have a look. Everyone's catching up. Just do give me the thumbs up when you have got your picture painted, and no hurry if you haven't. I'm now looking up female kingfisher. Bird. I don't know what else you can get. I don't know if you distinctly see the lipstick. Well, they look the same to me. How on earth can you tell? Oh, okay. Oh, she does. There you go. I don't know if everyone's going to see that. It does have a bit of orange under her beak. You see that? There. So that little bit under there, in that bit there. If you want yours to be female, this little bit here, you paint that orange. Like that. And that's the only difference. So good luck spotting that in real life, because I've got no idea how you'd spot that. My original painting was a male. There you go. Didn't know that. Didn't know that at all. I wonder why that is. The female has orange. Maybe it attracts fish or something. Oh, I need that for my background. How's everyone doing? Are we doing all right?
I think you can keep going now.
I can keep going. Thank you, Sarah. I will carry on. So we're going to paint his little stripe. And then while we've got orange paint on our brushes, we can just put a bit of orange here and then add a bit of burnt umber, a bit of contrasting colour. So we're just going to do this little bit under here that just comes to the front of his beak, and pop that little marker on his beak. You won't have drawn this part on, but you can keep that nice and tight around there. And if you want to make yours female, this part here, under here, you do orange, and that will be your female version of the kingfisher from the information I've just read. So I'm going to go in with a dry brush, because obviously we're working quite tight in this area. I'm just going to turn my page so I can get to my paint picture, so I can get to the area that I want to work on, which is this part here. So I'm going to add, I want it quite dark under here. My paint's quite dry. Let's get that a bit better. I did add a little bit of burnt umber, a bit of contrast on this. So I did add a little bit. I will in a second, but we did say burnt umber anyway. So I'm just going to pull that down and go very carefully under here. Stop about there. If you're worried about them seeping into each colour, just go very carefully and just choose a smaller brush if you need to do it a bit tighter. This is why we have lots of different brushes. Just gently, you don't have to do it all in one go. And then I'll just go in with water on this brush. I'm just going to pull that out from there. And leave that white at the end there. Let's add a little bit burnt umber. I think this was burnt umber, hopefully. Just to give a little bit of dark, very small bit of burnt umber. Well, actually, I'm going to use, what's that colour there? Burnt sienna. Quite like burnt sienna. It's kind of a rusty colour. Oh, that's a bit too much water pouring out of that. So a bit of contrast, not orange. Not getting much. I don't like these little brushes. I much prefer the big ones. I'm going to switch to my other one. I like these big ones. Get more paint on them. Oh, come on, paint. That's better. So go under there a bit dark. And just pull that out. And that's under there. And I will need a small brush to do this big, because that's what I work out. So it's quite a small one. Just want to get it quite tight under this area here, where it determines whether it's male or female, because I want to leave that white stripe. So I'm going to use my indigo, so that's my grey. Very carefully. It's just on dry paper. We're working on dry paper on this bit. come out to the end of your beak here. We've got a little kind of triangle going on up here. So we've got that line here. I said if you want to do it female, that little line I've just drawn should be orange. That's the lipstick, as they call it in the bird world, I guess. And it's kind of got this kind of little white gap there that goes up. So I'm just putting paint on dry paper. So this bit here will go up. Just put it on. I'm just working with indigo, but if you've got Payne's grey, that's the same. I want that a little bit darker, so I need that a bit darker there. And I've got a tiny little brush. I don't normally work this small. Then I'm going to clean it. I'm going to pull out. Just be careful because I've got a water droplet on there. It doesn't blob water everywhere. That's the worst thing about these little ones. I think they're less controllable than the big ones, personally. I'm going to take that, clean my brush because it's doing the same colour everywhere. A bit of water. Take that down the beak. Now I put a bit of wax resist on the top of the beak there, so that should stay pretty much the same colour. I'm just going to pull that up there. Like that. You don't need to play with it too much. You can add a little bit more if you want to just define the beak a little bit more. So look how tiny on brushes. You don't see me often work with brushes this small. There we go. I'm trying to get that kind of 3D effect going with the and I want this to meet up with my orange. I'm just going to go in with a bit more here. Play with that a little bit more. Just let them.
I don't like wax resist, I've decided.
What have you done with it?
Well, it's never very clean.
The other thing to use is masking fluid, Sarah. But it's not messy. It's just it can rip your paper if you don't let the paper dry. But it's useful to use. I'll if you're still on it at the end, I'll show you. Or I can send you it. Just you'll have. What I need to just show you how to use it though. You don't use it with a good brush. You need an old brush. See, I'm just darkening under his chest here because I want that a little bit darker. You have to use it because they mess up brushes. It's like glue on a brush, basically. It's good for like water and stuff like that. It does have its place.
This wax resist just, I don't know. I mean, I use a wax crayon, but it's
sharpen it? What do you use to
a wax crayon? You know, sharp, and it was sharp, but it's just messy. The paint just, I don't know how to describe it.
Paint. So if you've not got lines like I've got?
No, I've got messy bits.
Did you sharpen?
Yeah, I'm with you. Mine looks a bit ham-fisted. I think it's because I'm using a birthday candle and it still had the wick in it.
Yeah. It needs to be quite sharp tonight because we needed.
Yeah, mine was sharp. It was really sharp, but
I've just swapped from a wax crayon. I had my daughter's Crayola sharpened, and I've swapped. I bought some off of Amazon, just like the normal wax resist, and it's so much easier. So much more pointy.
Have you got proper wax resist one?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are better. These are the art ones. This is the proper wax resist. You can get away almost with the kid.
Mine looks exactly the same as yours.
Yeah, so you should be getting what I'm getting, Sarah.
Will I not?
What are you doing then? You're going to need to send it through. Send it through so I can have a look. Well, I don't know what you're up to.
Leave me neck.
You mean the little blobs on it, Sarah?
Yes.
If you get
The
some of
little
those,
blob.
I dry my brush and then just take them off a bit with that.
Okay.
Do you get, if you left your blobs?
Not that I know.
Do you leave the blobs of wax on there?
Well, let me.
I want to see what you're up to because I'm like working blind here. So that he's big. So I'm, oh, what we're going to do a bit of orange on his beak. So I've got orange. So
Oh, the dry brush helps. Whoever said that, the dry brush, just brushing over the top, really sort of, yeah.
it just
okay.
takes the bits off.
Yeah. Well, it just sort of makes it a bit less harsh. You can blend
No.
the edge of the wax resistant and paint a bit more. I don't like it. Yes.
Yes, see,
sort of
Sarah,
tip.
you didn't need to use this. You know, this on his beak here.
Yeah.
You probably just could have got away with the top of it. And you didn't need to do this line here.
Oh, well, I did.
I know you did. I can see you did.
Never mind.
Because when you do wax resist, if you paint too much over it, you can actually get some of that off with your paintbrush. You can go in and clean it up because it will come off with your, if you go in with a clean brush and just pull it off and tidy it up, because you've loaded it up with quite a lot of paint, that the paint is now actually sitting on the wax resist as well. So let me have a look what someone else has been up to. Ooh, Amadine. Yeah, what did
Yeah,
we kind of lost your bits in there, haven't we, on the head?
yeah, they got all lost.
They
All
got
the
lost.
other things I've had
Have you
added.
got acrylic?
I've
You got
got
acrylic?
paint.
Yes.
I've got this.
I don't know what that is. That just looks like watercolours, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you had acrylics, that goes in with white paint. Or if you've got guillage or something that's not watercolour, that will go over the top. I don't. Oh yeah, perfect. You can put those back in with your white. Let it dry or hair dry it while you're waiting. If it's not dry, hair dry it. I'm just going to colour these little square bits because I hadn't done his little nose. Let's pop those in there. White acrylic is a very handy tool when you're doing watercolours, because if you lose a white bit, it can come, but you can get it back with a bit of.
Got some here. I've got some.
Oh, Sarah's on a mission. She's found some.
Debbie,
Yes, was that you?
I sent Lolly. I sent you a picture.
Let's have a look. What have you been? Oh, that's nice. Love that. Oh, yours is a little girl. Hey, well done, Lolly. Lolly's put lipstick on hers. I like that. I'm behind. I need to catch up. Let me put these in. These little nose pieces in with a bit of. Remember. Good, Lolly. I love that. Well done.
Yeah.
Let's just have a relax for a sec. So I'm just adding in the his little orange nose. And he's almost ready to rock and roll, I reckon. Is everyone all right for, I'm going to do the branch now. All right to go on for the branch? Just going to go on to the branch. I'm going to go up. And you can always go back to this and add more paint if you need to. Sometimes you have to let it dry a bit and you can go in and add a little bit more. So he's branched. I'm going to use my bigger brush. I'm literally just going to go in and put some water. Just be careful of his body, obviously. His little feet are kind of a burnt sienna colour. I don't really need much work on them. And then to put water all the way down it. This branch, like so. And then add in your whatever colour you're going to choose. I might go with my burnt umber. So the light's coming from the top. So I always put the pigment at the bottom and then it can kind of go that way. Go that way, up towards the light. So the dark bits at the bottom. So whatever you've got your little Kingfisher sitting on, put some colour on there. Now I've got a bit of colour on there, just spread it about a bit. Take that up a bit more. And add more variation. It's always good to put a couple of colours on. I'm going to put a bit burnt sienna in there as well. It just kind of disappears off the page. And we've got to add a bit of shadow under here for his body, just working, building up slowly. So that's the base bit on. It just disappears off the page. It's dark under here, so it doesn't matter. You just kind of leave that pigment under there. So I'm going to add a bit of, what's that one? Burnt sienna. A bit of contrast colour. It's more like a rusty brown. Add a bit of different colour. So I've got that wax resist on top of the branch there. It will just not paint. There you go. All the way up there. Bit of burnt umber underneath there. That's nice and dark. That's better. Go under here. Now I'm going to add indigo under here in a minute when I want that dark. Just trying to build up the tonal difference between where the top of the log is and where the bottom is. Using 3 colours. Now you can do his little feet quickly in a little burnt sienna colour. Or some kind of browny colour. Doesn't need much on there. Like so. Kind of mirror on the end of his legs. Just go right under his body, under there. And I'm going to add indigo, a bit of dark contrast on top of the brown. Just build that up. His shadow on the log where he's sitting. It's not a log, it's a branch. He's only a little bird. Has everyone seen a kingfisher? For real? They're fast. I've only seen 2 ever. No, I don't know.
Loads of them in Singapore. I
Have
saw them
you?
all the time. We used to get them in the garden. There's 2 or 3 different types, different colours.
Is there?
Yeah, they're lovely.
What
Where I
colour?
used to walk the dogs at the old Chinese cemetery, I often used to see them there
Oh, wow.
in pairs. They were lovely.
Yeah, they do say they're pairs and very territorial, and they will
Yeah.
fight to the death, is what it says on there. So, what colours are they? Is that
Well,
just
you get this one, and then there was one which was a more of a kind of royal blue colour, really, really bright blue, and he had a really white chest.
Oh, wow.
So he was just like really solid blue with a really white chest, and then there was another one which had a very brown chest, but only sort of halfway down, and then he was blue underneath, and the turquoise at the back. Really lovely.
See, I only thought there was one colour. I
think you only get one over here.
Yeah. I didn't realise
and then in Australia, the kookaburras are members of the same family, and you get 2 or 3 different types of kookaburras.
Oh, yeah. Kookaburras are a big
family.
bird, aren't they? They're quite big kookaburra.
Yeah, they're really big.
I'm pretty sure, well, yeah, it must have been a kookaburra. There's a kookaburra came and sat on our picnic table and tried to steal our.
Yeah, they're really.
You're not going to argue with the kookaburra, I'll tell you. It's pretty big. I'm like, yeah, you can have that. I'm not going to fight you for it. Off you go.
I thought they only sat on a telephone wire.
They're huge. They are quite big. Yeah. I think they break a telephone wire. They're actually quite big birds. But I just remember the beak being quite big, trying to steal my sandwich off me. So I've just do your branch, whatever colours you like, really. I mean, I just use burnt umber, a bit of burnt sienna, and just kind of build that up and dark underneath, really. And actually we're ready to almost just splodge the rest of it. And you can go in, you can add more colour back in if you want to add more colour to your bird.
Will you show me at the end how to do the white acrylic, please?
Yes, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Have you got acrylic there?
I have.
Let me go find my acrylic then, whilst everyone's catching up. So let me get some clean water. So obviously, acrylic's plastic based, so be careful what you mixed it on and let it dry, because you won't get it off. It will stay on there. It doesn't peel off. It doesn't wash off. Yeah. So just don't stick it on your art pad and leave it there, as in your plastic. I'm just going to put mine in a little plastic bowl here, because it will It will just ruin any palette you've got unless you go off and clean it straight away. It's very good. That's why it's good to do this stuff. You know, not fun. So I'm just going to squeeze. I've got one of these things with it in. I'm just going to squeeze some out. It'll work quite neat because we need it white, and actually you can go back in, and I'm just going to put it on the one I've got already here. Clean water. I'm just going to mix a tiny little bit of water, and actually I'm going to choose not such a nice paintbrush because the acrylics is a bit nasty on you. Don't use your bestest watercolour paints brushes to mix it with. I'm just going to add a bit of water in here. It's quite, just mix it up a little bit. And there, just mix it up. Just turn that around. Just mix it in. Then I've got a little brush here. This is a square brush. And you're just going to paint that on.
So do you think I can go over the messy bit of my wax resist with this?
Yeah. Have a go. See?
I'm a bit scared.
Just try a little area first. That's it. Just clean your brush. Don't put your same brush in there. You can't mix watercolour brushes with those brushes. Just keep them out of the way. Because it's plastic based, it sticks there in there once it's dry. So that's going over there out of the way. I'm going to pop background. I don't know how everyone is. Do you want me to hang fire for a minute? How's it? Has everyone done their Kingfisher? Are we ready for background? So how are you? We haven't seen you for a while.
I know. I'm usually busy on Thursdays. I help a Syrian family learn English. But I have already done mine and sent it through the Stronger Together because I seem to have lost. I've seen my phone's gone funny. I seem to have lost some numbers.
That's all right. Well, as long as you put it in there, you put it in the group.
So you will see it there.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. So if you are, I mean, go ahead. You can zizz ahead if you're happy to zizz ahead. I'm just looking for. Oh, there we go. Looking for my big brush.
Yeah, I miss all
You don't feel you have to hang around. Oh yes, love that. Yeah. Nice, Sarah.
The paper's not brilliant, but anyway, it will be good. It's in a frame.
I like that.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love your animals. They're fabulous.
Hey, love that one. But don't feel free. You have to stay. So I'm more happy for you to stay. I will chat to England. Everyone knows. So just drop out when you want to. And
I look forward to seeing all everyone's finished pictures later.
Yeah, we'll pop them in once they've all popped through. Lovely to see you. Right, I'm just going to work on the background now. So this is where I just tip it up a little bit because we want the drops to drop one way and drop the other way. So I'm going to work on the bottom bit first for a change. I'm just going to put some water under the branch there. I'm just going to let it dribble down. You can see it dribbling down the page. You let me, that's better so you can see what I'm doing. Now I use phthalo blue and a bit of, where's my green one over there. So just tip, you can see I'm tipping my page. I'm just going to move the camera and it's just water's just dripping down the page. You can see it there dribbling down the page. And just let it do that. It drips onto obviously my working area. And I'm going to add a bit of, you want it quite wet. And I'm working with quite a big brush. Phthalo blue, there we go. Get that on under there and just let it run. It's just going to run, it's just going to follow the water. I can do that. Let it run down. Like so. And whilst it's running down, you can add a little bit of sap green in there. Just rub it on and it'll just join in with the water flowing down. You can go in and add a bit more phthalo blue. I've still got a bit of sap green on my brush, which is fine because it'll just mix together. And it's just running. I'm just going to let it run down the page. And then if you want to get it, you can bang it. Or you can clean your brush with a bit of water and then just encourage it to go down a little bit more. And I'll just run down there, like so. That's one bit. And I'm going to turn And as I'm going to turn out, that is going to drip back into itself, which is absolutely fine. This bit up here. And I'm going to do the top bit. It's the same process. So we're going to add a bit of water up top, water. Shelley, it's quite messy, this one. I've already looked at my worktop, water everywhere. Then we've got splatting if you want. But you don't have to. And then add a bit of water around here. And obviously watch his beak. So go around his beak. Just very carefully. Around his beak. And you can see it's kind of, you can, if you tilt your paper, you can see it shine and you can see where you've got your water. Just to check, you can watch the shine of it. There we go. Then just add, what am I going to use? A bit of sap green, probably. There you go, a bit of blue mixed in. There we go. Let that run down. I want this bit quite watery, so I'm just going in and add a little bit of water. Just bring that out and just let that drip down. Just bring a bit more colour around here. Sap green phthalo, and I just let it mix on the page actually. It's quite fun watching it mix. And you can see it's just dripping, you can let it drip, shape the page, get quite nice. I quite like just let it drip off the page. I'm just working my way around. It's still tilted, that's why I've got my hand under here and I'm just tipping it as I go. Just be very careful with his beak here, so it doesn't matter if you tip it sideways, it'll just run sideways for a bit. And then it'll go down there. So I have a bit of variation here, I think. It's all one colour. I don't think this is sap green I'm using. I know I used sap green out of the other one. I'm using a different paint thing because my other paint box is all over the floor. But it's a similar green. I want that to kind of almost drip. So if you want it to drip, you just put a bit of water on it and just drip. And you see how messy it is on here. I've got water on all sorts. That little bit darker, so just a little bit up here. There's a smaller brush. So I've got a smaller brush now, I just want it a bit tighter. Clean it and then just blob water on. And it just runs. I do that. It just runs down the page, around like so. Let's take the dark bit out. And so it just goes where you turn the water, where you put the water. Just follows the water. How you doing, Shelley? You made lots of mess. Lots of mess. Let's move my glasses out of the way. Glasses box is very handy to tip. So now I'm going to let it flat because I don't want it to do any more running around. There we go, that's enough running around. And I'm happy with that. I'm just going to leave that to dry. And it will continue to kind of spread because it's watercolour paper, it will continue to kind of almost spread and you just leave it for a bit. Ideally, if you've got a hairdryer, you should be drying that now. But I'm going to see if I can find one. Oh, I know where to put it. If you don't have a hairdryer and you put the slobbies on, it tends to spread a little bit more. You get a better effect if you are. As Shelley knows, she's got a hairdryer sat by there. She will be drying hers in a second. You don't have to dry it. I will show you what it looks like if you don't, and then show you what it looks like if you do. If I can find my plug. There he is. I'm going to do a little bit to show you what it looks like if you don't dry it down here. I mean, it's up to you what effect you like, really. It's really your decision. So a bit of sap green and the phthalo I used. Oh, did I use? Well, I used a bit of sap green and then I put a bit of orange in as well. So a bit of sap green and phthalo mixed together. So it's quite a lot on there. You hold it really tight and just bang it. It's only a little bit down here. Oh, it's quite dry now down here. See, it splodges and it goes out. do cover up your picture if you don't want it to go too far. Protect it a little bit. See if that's still wet, so it goes, spreads. But that's your decision. You know, sometimes it's like we did the flowers last week. It's quite a nice effect. Sometimes you don't want that. And I'm going to add a bit of orange in the splodgies as well. A bit of orange in there as well. Okay, so that's not dried with the hairdryer. See, I cover it up so I don't. See, you get quite a nice little effect there. So I'm going to add some up here. So I'm just going to dry this one. And then I'm going to cover that up because I don't want to get any over him. So I want to work up this part here. And I'm going to use the same again, a bit of sap green and phthalo. I'm just going to on his beak, come out. Very gently up here. So you just hold it and you bang it. You don't have to do this. It's just fun. It goes everywhere, doesn't it, Shelley? Absolutely everywhere. That's what art's all about. Messy fun. And a bit of orange. Same thing. And you don't get any of that spreading. It just stays nice, solid splodge. But it's really what you want. See, you get that kind of stuff. So if you if you want it kind of doing that, you do it when it's damp. And if you want it not doing that, if you can dry it with a hairdryer, you'll get that. But that's basically, hopefully you have something that looks like a kingfisher. And Sarah, how you get on with your acrylics? Where is Sarah? She's run off, look. She's obviously doing something and finding something. Anyone? Amadine, did you go with acrylics?
I tried, but it didn't work really well.
Okay.
No, mine didn't either.
Did you do it thick enough?
I was trying to build the layers, but it just doesn't seem to stick well under the paint, on top of the paint. I don't know if it's my brush, but yeah.
Because acrylics should still stick to wax. That's why you can't use wax resist with acrylics, because it's plastic based. It'll just go over everything. So it should work over the wax resist. It needs to be quite thick, but it needs to be watery, because when it comes out of the tube, it's thick. You just need to add a tiny little bit of water with it. So hardly any water with it. So dry it and add another little line, like I did there, just another little line. What did Sarah do? Did yours
I just made a bit of a mess, really.
Oh dear.
Can't all be good weeks, can they?
Well, if you can do it again. You can have a little pair, a female and a male. Wendy, how did you get on?
Bit of a mess.
Mess. Oh my! What have you all been doing?
But yeah, I've maybe got overzealous on the blue of the background. I'll send you a picture. It's not awful.
Done that.
It's not awful.
I've messed up my background. I completely overdid it.
So if you want to get some of it off, you go in with a damp brush. Let me do this on this one here. So let's take, let me see if I can take some of that off. So I would go in with my big damp brush. And you need a bit of kitchen towel. Let me get a piece of that. Ooh. Smooth my paints out of the way. So if you've got too much paint somewhere, is that what the problem is?
Yeah.
So just go in with the damp brush, like so. You can start to take it off. You can actually use the paintbrush just to take a little bit of it off. So you go in with the damp brush and then you just, it's almost like a mop. And then I've got, just suck that up and let that suck that up. Go in, you have to keep going and take it off. I mean, phthalo blue is quite a staining colour. Once it's on there, you won't get it completely off. Kitchen towel. Oh, we do clouds. Go in. And then just keep, if you've got a kitchen towel, you can almost pull it off and make it a bit lighter. And actually kitchen towel is quite nice because it's not as straight. So I've just taken a whole load off there, you see, with my brush. So go in there. That's just water on that. And I can go in and I can, so this is, so take a lot of the water off and then just go in and mop it up. Clean my brush, go in, take most of the water off and go in and take it off. Clean my brush, go in, take it off. We can take those blobs off as well. I wanted to go in and just put a bit of water on. You should be able to turn it down a little bit. See, I've got rid of all that now with just a damp brush, and then take most of the water out of it and then use it and take it off. If not, you can go in with your kitchen towel and get quite a nice little effect on the background there, actually, like that. So I actually lost all that dark now underneath there on that bit. And you can tone it down a little bit. Just work your way around it slowly.
I sent you a picture of my mess.
Let's see what you've been up to, Sarah.
It's not been a good day all round, really.
Thanks, Debbie. I'm going to go.
Who's that? Avril?
Avril, yeah, I'll send it.
You're your ascot tomorrow?
Yeah.
Have fun. Have you got your raincoat? I'm jealous. I would have to go in the rain. Enjoy it. I'll let you go, mate.
Bye.
You going, Kirsty, as well?
Yes, I've just finished. Well, I've splattered.
You send it through when it's all dry.
I'll send it to you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Take care, mate.
Bye.
Sun in Scotland. You got sun there, or was that a light?
Beautiful sunshine. I had to go and close the curtains because.
Oh, don't. No. Enjoy.
We've got sun down here in Devon as well. It's been a lovely afternoon.
Bye.
Bye, Kirsty. Oh, we've got, oh, okay. So the middle of the country is just covered in water then, basically. Scotland has a bright, I could see, I could work out where it was light, but it's not, it's sun. Sun's coming. And Liz, what have you got? Liz has got sun as well.
Yeah, I had to shut the curtains. Just yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Sun, like sunset. It's going down over the hills at the back of the front.
See, everyone up in Scotland got sun.
But it was grey yesterday when you were sitting at 28 degrees.
Oh, fair enough. Don't worry. I don't feel so bad. I can work out. You know, when you're sitting there thinking, that doesn't make sense. For me, I'm sitting, it's almost dark here now.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that. Right, let's see what's. So, Sarah.
Yes.
You used ultramarine, did you?
I used, well, it says phthalo blue, but it's not really.
It looks like ultramarine to me.
Mm.
And what's your ultramarine colour?
Hey?
Have you got ultramarine in there?
In where? In my picture?
In your paintbrush, paint box?
Well, I think so, but it's the only one with no colour on it. Written on the side. Normally they've got a little, but it's this one.
Okay. That looks like green you've used, but that's fine. It's just getting your colour sorted. You can actually paint these a little bit better with your, and I mean, all I've got is half a head because you cut half his body off, but I'm just.
I just was showing you the beak, really. That's all I was doing.
His beak's fine. What's wrong with his beak?
Well, it looks a mess to me.
Well, all you need to, is that the wax resist on there? That's
acrylic.
Okay, so you just need to do a more sharp line, really, as in a nice, and actually.
Perhaps I need a white pencil or something. I don't know.
Just need to have a small brush. Did you see the tiny little brush I went in with? This brush here.
Yeah. No, I did. I honestly did have a tiny little brush. Here.
Yeah. Tiny. And it's literally getting that line a bit crisper, really.
Yeah.
You could technically go in with your, very lightly with your uni ball and actually do a little line. I'll show you where. Which actually would, I mean, I didn't, I was trying to work out what you're trying to get me to look at, to be fair. So it's not that obvious. I'm looking at the head thinking, what's wrong with it? Right, this bit here. Where would it draw? Oops. Hang on a minute. Right, this bit. Okay. Let's pick the biggest pencil it can possibly pick for you. It's not what I want. That there, if you can crisp up that line, that will sort your beak out. That's all where it's wobbly in my eye.
Yes, yes, I know.
Either use your uniball, or which you should be able to do over acrylics, or go in very carefully with your. You won't be able to go in with your watercolors because it won't go over that. Or neaten it up with your what's it called? Acrylics. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you get rid of the whole black bit underneath there. It won't look strange. Just try and neaten up the line a bit. And these here up here, you can make it a little bit bigger with your brush. So it almost looks like a fan coming out of his head. And then this little line here, if you just define this bit, that bit a bit more. You can see on mine it goes up a little bit more. Then you can use your acrylics to do your little zebra crossing on that bit. Looks good though. Other than that little wobbly line, I really have to zoom in, Sarah, to find it.
Yeah.
Is everybody else all right?
I've sent you a picture, Debbie.
Oh, you've sent me one. Let's have a look. Oh, I've got loads come through. Okay, so Lolly. Oh, Lolly. Oh, Lolly, that's lovely. Lolly's got her sitting on a little sandbank. Yay, love that. Well done. Good, good. He's a nice bright Kingfisher.
Yeah, but I used Inktense pencils as well.
Did you? That's all right.
Yeah, I've just put it on top, so it's highlighted the feathers, and because the white didn't show up much, I've gone with a sharp blue pencil on that round his eye.
Yeah, good.
Going outwards.
That's good. To find other equipment that will work, you might find your brush pens that go over the top will work. I haven't tried that.
Yeah.
I know you have those. Good.
Yes, that was fun.
Well done. Oh, what's Kate? Kate, you're more than welcome, Lolly. Lovely to see you. Did your embroidery go all right, or what you were doing?
Oh, you know that crazy quilt that's been hanging on the back of the door for months?
Yes.
It's all come together, and I'm actually quilting it now, so it's nearly finished.
Oh, we'll get to see it then eventually.
I'll hang it on the back of the door one day and you'll see it finished.
It's really amazing, everybody. You should see it. It's just like a mathematical piece of art. I could never do it. It's too many straight lines for me.
Well, isn't it? It's triangles.
Oh, is it triangle?
It's a lot of triangles sewn together, but it's the pattern that makes it into little boxes. So it's called Magic Squares.
Is it? Yeah. It's such beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. Anyway, it's great fun. We're getting there with that as well. So
we'll see that when we're done as well.
Yeah, you will. Okay then.
Okay, Lolly, I'll get you on. Let you go on, mate. That's lovely. Well done tonight.
Bye.
Bye. Where are we? Jack, what do you got, Kelly? Kate, yours is lovely. I just sent yours back. Brilliant, beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. Love that. Oh, you can see him almost sitting in your garden, mate.
Oh, much like the thing out of the birds in my garden this morning.
I know. What were they having? Like, look like a bird movie in your garden.
There was 2 on the bird feeder, 2 on the floor, 1 on the table, and 1 on a little plant pot.
Wow.
All at the same time.
I don't know what's with birds at the moment. They seem to be going crazy. I think they're feeding their fledglings. I actually saw.
Well, I think the doves are sex mad because that's all they've been trying to do outside my window.
Oh. Oh, what have we got in here? No, I mean,
through, Debbie.
Oh, there we go. I've got, who have I got here? Wendy. Hey, Wendy. Where's Wendy? Wendy's still here. Yes, she is. Lovely. I like your background. What's wrong with it?
A bit messy.
No, they're supposed to be messy. I love it.
It was fun doing it.
It's not messy. You like it too pristine. I like it like
Messed
that.
up my background as well. It's too solid.
I
Don't like it
that.
at all. I'm gonna
You both need
cut
to
him
leave
out
it.
and do a new one tomorrow.
You need to leave it and look at it in the morning because the watercolour paper will continue to work until it's dry.
I don't know. The bit above him is fine. It's the bit below the branch.
Okay.
It's just there's too much. I put too much on, I think, and spread it around too much.
So you could. I think it looks fine, but if you more like the top bit, I would say come out from under the branch, just I'll mark where here with dark. Don't go all the way down because it'll balance it out a little bit better.
Yeah.
Dark there.
Put a bit more on tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to come back to it tomorrow.
I actually think it looks fine, but maybe you just need to look at it with a clear eye. Who else?
I really enjoyed that though. That was great. Thanks, Debbie.
You're more than welcome. Lovely to see you.
I'm going to head off now.
Okay,
I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to, because we're supposed to be going away. Typical, we go away for a weekend, it's going to rain. But never mind. I'll see you next week.
Shelley, enjoy. It's all you can do really with this weather.
I know.
It's still warm, isn't it? Oh, where have I gone? It's still warm. That's the main thing.
That's true. That's very true. Right, see you next week.
See you
Bye.
next week. Take care, mate. Oh, how come you can't see me? What's going on?
We've gone. Bye, Debbie. Nice one.
See you, Wendy. Lovely to see you, mate. Well done.
Yes,
I like
job.
the background. You need to look at it in the morning. Let it settle
Yeah.
because it will lighten up. Watercolours dries lighter.
I'll let it settle. It'll be awesome, I'm sure.
Yes, it will.
Right. No, nice to see you.
See you, Wendy.
Bye.
Oh, Nikki. Wow. Well done, mate.
Thanks, I enjoyed that.
Beautiful. Don't touch it. Love it.
Thanks.
Well done.
Did you say you were going to stay on and talk masking fluid?
Yes. Let me have a look.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna stay on. I've just bought some.
Now, I don't use it often. I'm not a keen user of it.
What is it?
I'll show you. Hold on. Oh, does this one even work? Oh, yeah, it is. It's this. And I've just stuck my finger next to it. Oh, didn't think it was. I think it had gone dead, but it hasn't. It's called art masking fluid. And it. Ooh, let me get off my finger now. Let me find a piece of paper. Let's see what to do on the back of the Kingfisher. Come down here. Now,
Thanks,
don't you
Debbie.
Who's that?
Nicola, I'm going.
Lovely to see you.
Thanks very much. I'll send you something.
Okay, cool. I'll have a look.
Thanks. Bye.
See you, mate. Oh, that's nice. Love that, Nicola. Yay.
I smudged the that annoys me in the left corner. I don't know if I can remove that somehow.
Yes. Did you see me
It
put
was still
the
too
one
wet.
off?
Yeah.
So all you do is stamp it with a brush and then use the brush to lift it off and then go with a bit.
Yeah, I think I have to do that.
I actually like that. It looks like flowers hanging off the branch. You lot are very critical of your own work, I will say.
Sorry.
Let me find an old brush. That's my next job. I'm not too that'll do.
All right, thanks.
You're more welcome. So let me go back to my other camera. What am I doing? So I can see what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Sorry, get down to that one. It's better. And then you. Right, now it's this cloth. It's called art masking fluid. And you pop your brush in. And then some comes coloured blue, so you can see where you're painting it. Now, I used this last year to do my Sea and Waves workshop. I'll get the picture out in a second while this is drying. It does ruin your paintbrush.
Looks weird.
It is weird. I'm not a keen user. It's almost like, I would say, copy decks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it
Quite
actually
hard to work with.
I don't like it very much, but it has its uses.
Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I've picked the worst paintbrush you could probably do. A smaller one would have been better. Got a bit enthusiastic. Anyway, we'll let that dry for a second. And obviously you need to put the lid on because it is like Copydex. And then what happens is that will just dry on your brush and then make it manky. Hence you always just keep an old brush aside that you literally use for masking fluid. And you can get off, you wash it quickly with, what do you call it? Washing up liquid and water, but it still ruins the brush. You can see all that rubbish on it.
Bought some specific brushes, Debbie. They had some that were masking fluid brushes. I've no idea what they
Yes,
are
you
because I haven't even
can
taken them
get
out yet.
like that. I mean, you can get such an array of art equipment. I would personally just get an old brush or cheap brushes from a shop that you get, like, you know, the cheap brushes where the if you're buying a pack for £1.99, they're only going, or kiddies brushes, those kind of stuff that are £1.99 for about 8 brushes. Just buy those and use those. They just work a bit better. You don't need to spend lots of money on art equipment if you don't need to. They will always have equipment for everything in art. Let that dry for a bit. And I'll see if I can find a picture where I used it on.
Oh.
Just got to dry a second. Okay. I did a workshop last summer. Here you go. I did a workshop last summer. We were doing waves, and you see these parts here, the white bit, that is what we painted with the masking fluid. So then you can go in very freely and paint over the top. You haven't got to worry about these bits because we need to keep it white. But you need to make sure it dries thoroughly before you pull it off, because it is like Copydex and it will rip the paper if you don't wait. That's why I don't use it very often. And obviously in art club we don't usually have time for this to kind of wait for it to dry. So hopefully that's warm at the moment. I'm just going to paint it on. It takes a while to dry. It's a bit like glue. It's warmer. So let's do some of my phthalo blue. Hopefully. So when you're painting, you can't see it really. You can see it there, can't you, a little bit. Now I've got to wait for it. I'm going to hair dry it. You shouldn't hair dry it, but I'm going to do that to get that done. And add a bit of a darker colour. What's that colour?
With your phthalo blue, which is that which make of paint is that?
Winsor and Newton or Daily Rowley. What ones have you got?
Well, no, my Winsor and Newton haven't got phthalo blue.
I think that's ultramarine you're using there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because there is no phthalo blue.
I thought it was. It looked like a So
the only phthalo blue I've got is in a tube, and even then it doesn't really look like yours. So
it's quite a bright blue phthalo blue. It doesn't look, I thought yours was ultramarine.
Yeah, I don't the Winsor and Newton set that I've got doesn't have the
phthalo
phthalo
blue. Amazon or an art shop, I shouldn't really say Amazon, or a art shop or whatever, or for like £3 and you just slot them in. They just come in.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
You just buy the little, I literally buy one of the, because when these start to run out, because obviously they're getting worn now, I just buy, there's a new one there, look, they come like this, already wrapped up, and then you wrap it and then you pop it in. You can get phthalo blue. That's how I added indigo, because you don't get all the colours in the pot. I'm just going to hair dry this, ladies, so that dries. You shouldn't do this with masking fluid, but we're going to do it. Now you should really leave this for a long time. It might rip, but it doesn't matter. We're just gonna. So then you did it at school. You peel a Copydex off. You've all three of you used Copydex, haven't you, at school, where you just kind of rub it and it comes off your finger. It's the same thing. Just gently rub it. You can start to see. Go that way. There you go. See, you see this kind of stuff. You see it? Look.
Oh, I see.
You see? And then you pull it off very carefully.
Oh,
you can use this instead of your waxes. I don't use it on Art Club. They're more on my longer workshops because we've got to wait for it to dry. Because if you're doing a large area, so you can do this. See, as it's coming off.
Yeah.
You to technically paint your wax resist, you get quite a solid line with the masking fluid, whereas with wax resist, it's more of a faded line, which sometimes is what you want rather than a solid line. That's why I used it on the waves one, because I needed that nice solid line, and it just comes off like that, like a little bit of.
My frustration with the wax resist is it just doesn't seem to be, it doesn't actually resist.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It lets some of it in, and that's really annoying.
You need to get that crisp line going with yours. I don't understand why yours does that.
No.
If you're using this.
Yeah.
You're using watercolor paper today? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I was using water, but it doesn't matter what paper I use. It's always the same. It just and I pressed quite hard.
You had a packet. You had 5 in a packet.
4 or 5, yeah.
So maybe take that one and put that to a side. Maybe you just got a dodgy packet.
Well, maybe. I mean, I think I've used them all at some point, to be fair.
Yeah, I have. Have you got like a white kiddie's wax crayon? Did yours work, Amit? One. Your white wax crayon. Amadine had the same problem. So this will work.
Yeah.
You can do yours. Me being on the front doing the painting, it's difficult for me to use this because obviously I have to wait for this to dry. But in the background while you're working, you can pop this on. You just paint over it. So you've got to know where you put it, and then it will paint. It won't resist. It will just let the paint go straight over the top. Then you peel it off, but it will be white underneath.
It's a bit of a
It's fine. It works well. I do use it. I just think in Art Club it's difficult to use it at the moment because one means someone's got to buy, and everyone's got to buy a pot of which this stuff's like not cheap. It's about £5-6. I don't really want people to start buying loads of stuff, but it can be used the same as the wax resist. So
is there any specific paper that would or wouldn't work, as in you said it can peel the paper?
It only peels if you're really eager to pull it off. You see, I dried that with a hair dryer, which actually I thought that would rip it. It needs to be really dry, Nikki.
Okay.
People get quite enthusiastic and want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, that's me as well. I've done the same thing. And then it rips the paper. But as long as it's so basically leave it but not too long. I mean, you can work on a picture and leave it on, for weeks and peel it off. It's fine. But very, very gently. Because what people do, like Copytex, they start pulling it and pulling it, and they're like, oh, this is fun. And they keep on pulling.
It looks really therapeutic.
Yes, it is. I would say practice with it first on a piece of like I have here and get the feel of how it works. Because it's not the easiest of stuff to work with, like you saw it with right old blobby. It is. This one's this shouldn't be like this. I don't know. That's why I shook it. So I think it's been in I had this last year, so it's got air to it, and maybe it's still runny, but maybe it just needs stirring in, and maybe it just needs throwing away. This stuff doesn't. It should be more fluidy than that on that one, but it's been in a hot room, so maybe
like nail varnish. It sometimes just goes.
Yeah, I think that's what's happened to this because it's been out. People have been using it, so I think that's what's happened. What's I've done. It has its uses, and I said you can use it to keep white the paper, and actually with watercolor, white on the paper is really important because once you've lost it, you can get it. So basically, that white line, if you don't want so much of it, you just take the paint up a bit more. It's a good method. It's just to do it in Art Club is difficult because to dry. And then wait for you.
Well, it'll be all right in the morning, Debbie, because it's always all right in the morning.
It is though, Sarah, isn't it?
Yes, you see.
Watercolour dries lighter. You've got to remember that as well. Always dries lighter. So always put a load of colour on and then it will always dry. And the watercolour paper keeps on working. It keeps on pulling the paint. And it does always look better in the morning.
Yeah, it does. Right, thank you.
Anyway, any more questions about that? That masking fluid, just let me know and I can send you links and stuff. It's good stuff to work, get to use it. It shouldn't look like that when I blob that on. That should be more fluid, more like fluidy.
More like Pipex or something.
Yes, exactly. And it has its uses. You might find that you like to use it in the background and just pop it on. Because if I use it and then you lot use it, then we've got to wait for mine to dry, yours to dry.
Yeah, we'll all be.
Process. Whereas wax resistors are quick light on. But yeah, it can be used the same. So yeah.
I might just keep practicing with the wax resist and see if I can get my technique a bit better, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that.
No, it's odd.
So yeah, practice is the thing. Get it to work. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you get on.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good evening.
you.
Any questions, pop them over.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.